Hi, I'm Adam Edgerton, and for 12 years I chased my dream of becoming a world champion in the kickboxing ring, but life had other plans for me. From stepping into the kickboxing ring, to blowing my very first trading account, to find myself in ways I never thought possible. This is my story, and I can't wait to share it with you. For 12 years, kickboxing was my life. I gave it everything I had, and the goal was really simple. I wanted to be the best in the world. But the problem was I would start having strings of wins and I would start slacking off. I'd stop doing the things that made me win fights. I would stop eating right. I would stop running. I started partying way too much. Once I recognized that pattern, I started to reel things in and I gave kickboxing everything I had. I became an absolute machine in the gym and I was getting ready to make a statement and get ready to go to the next level. And that's when COVID hit. And overnight, my kickboxing career ended. When I was sitting in an apartment by myself, trying to figure out what way to go in life, I decided to go all in on my newest hobby, day trading stocks. Thanks to the lockdowns, I had all the time in the world to start studying and trying to wrap my mind around everything that goes into day trading. I eventually funded a trading account, which I blew extremely fast like most people do, and I had a choice to make. Do I tuck tail and admit defeat, or do I invest more in myself? And I decided to get into a mentoring program, which taught me the job of day trading. And it really added years of experience in a very short amount of time. After I started finding consistency and I started making more money than I've ever made in my entire life, I did the most rational thing in the world. I quit my job. I bought a house down in Florida, which is my dream house, and I was getting ready to go live the American dream. And before all this happened, my best buddy, my dog Coda Bear, ended up passing away. And at that point in my trading career, I had never dealt with something like that or been grieving. And I did not understand what kind of emotional impact that was going to have on my trading. At the very beginning, the losses were manageable and I was able to deal with it. But when I had my first mortgage payment coming up and there wasn't a lot going on and I wasn't making the kind of money that I was making before, that's when the stress hit. And that's when a slightly bad situation and over-leveraging myself almost bankrupted me. I quickly realized that I had to adapt. My plan was not working. And so the genius idea I came up with was I was going to rent out 2 of the rooms. And I posted a listing on Facebook. I started getting a bunch of people to reach out and they wanted to turn my house into a party house, and that was not going to work with my day trading. I finally had one person, it was a single mom with 2 kids, that reached out and I was like, that might work. But when I moved them in, I thought that I was going to get a lot of pressure taken off of me. But when I started taking losses, I started having this subconscious thought of, man, how am I going to tell this mom that I just lost the house and her 2 kids don't have a place to live? And then on top of that, my grandpa just passed away. And once again, I'm just spiraling out of control. So at this point, you can say that I definitely hit rock bottom. I'm grieving the loss of my grandfather. I'm still grieving the loss of my best friend, Coda Bear. I feel like I had just literally ruined my life. I am up to my eyeballs in debt. I don't have any idea how the hell I'm going to pay for all this stuff because I thought that I was going to become a absolutely successful day trader. I was making more money than I could even spend back in Kentucky. And I didn't understand how much your mental side of things plays into trading. And because I over leveraged myself, I was about to lose everything. And to top it off, the mother that I rented the rooms to, I became really close with her daughter. She's like my little buddy. She ended up going to the hospital and it scared the shit out of me. And when I went to go visit them and I tried to explain to them that I was going to go back out to Idaho, they got super excited when they're like, oh, is there snow in Idaho? I found out that they've never seen snow before. And so I had a genius idea. I was like, you know what? My kickboxing coach used to always say that my biggest flaw was whenever something wasn't working, I would just try harder and harder and harder. And I feel like because of those lessons in the ring, I was able to really look at things. I was like, man, no matter how hard I'm trying, shit's just not working. And I had already thought about liquidating my trading account, and so I did. I liquidated my trading account. I ended up talking to the mom, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna fly you guys all out to Idaho. Let's go see Idaho. You guys can see snow for the first time. And so that's what I did. And it was the hardest thing in the world for me because I felt like I was giving up on my dream. That trip absolutely changed my life. I got to say goodbye to my grandfather. I got to show the kids snow for the first time, and I got to really take time to reflect on what went wrong. I just made more money than I've ever made in my entire life, and I was so confident that I was going to go down there and live the dream. And I remember talking to some family members and them telling me that if you only focus on the negative, that's where your energy is going to go. Reflect on what you have that's positive in your life. And when I started doing that, it's really funny. It's like I looked at reality through a different lens, and that lens was awesome. It made me really reflect on, man, I have this amazing family here with me. And next you know, that family became my family. And a few months later, I ended up getting married, and I instantly had a family. And because I wasn't day trading, it provided me with a bunch of time to go out and have an absolute blast with my family. And a few months after that, I told my wife, I was like, you know, the only thing I'm missing in my life is day trading. And so that was the first thing we did. We got my trading account back, and it was funny because then I finally started making money again. I started to relax, and things were just flowing. Then it got even better. My old boss gave me a job offer to go back to my old life. And so we packed up, we moved back, and everything started to get better. But it allowed me to have a time to really reflect what went wrong in my business plan before. For me, I didn't have a business plan before. I was just trading, and I was just going off a gut instinct. But the problem was I didn't have enough experience. I didn't have backup funds. I didn't have a backup account. I didn't have extra money in reserves for when I have a drawdown month, or, you know, I didn't have a set playbook. You know, my entries, my risks, my targets, all that kind of stuff. I didn't have structured rules. And so when I didn't have rules, it allowed my emotions to get the better of me, and I started losing money. And I also didn't have the experience. I never went through a lot of the stuff that I went through down in Florida. And so for me, it provided me with enough time to really sit down and form my business structure. And then on top of that, I started getting a couple of students. And that's really where things really took off for me, because it made me reflect on when I was in kickboxing. My coach had me start coaching people. And when I started doing that, it made me not just do it, but understand why I do it. Why you turn over on your cross, and how you have your balance, and why it's important to run and eat right, and really have a all-around life balance. Because when you're doing the job of trading, you need to make sure that everything's in order. You are an athlete. You need to make sure that you're doing the right things. You're eating right. You're taking care of your body, taking care of your mind, and everything flows into each other. And that's what I was missing when I went down to Florida the first time. My new mission is to do it right this time. I feel like I am very fortunate that I get to hit the reset button, and I get to learn from all my past mistakes. What did I do wrong? What did I do right? And how can I capitalize on the things I did right and get rid of the things I did wrong? And if you haven't learned from my story, I've pretty much done every single thing that you can possibly do wrong. And I'm very fortunate that I'm still here to be able to trade. And so if you want to learn from somebody that's really been there and done all of it, then click the link down below. I want to build up a trading community, but I want to do it differently than other people. I don't want a bunch of BS. I want to have a very raw and uncut journey. I want to share the good, the bad, everything. And I want to have a real community, which I feel like is very, very rare in trading. So if that sounds like something that you want to be a part of, click the link down below to join the best trading community out there.